Hi everybody, my name is Joanne, and in this video we will be learning about JSON. So what is JSON? JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation, and it is a data representation format. It's used for transferring data between server and clients, and also for configuration files. JSON serves the same purpose as XML, but it has a lot of advantages over XML. So why use JSON? JSON is lightweight, so it's easier to get and load data very quickly. It's also scalable. JSON actually is language independent, which means it can work with most of our modern programming languages. Actually, my first experience with JSON was not within a JavaScript program. It was actually using C# APIs. The nice thing about it being scalable is that if you have server code and it's always writing out JSON, it doesn't matter if you change your server from being a C# web API to some type of Java API. It doesn't matter as long as you're still giving back the same JSON message. Finally, it has a standard structure. And the nice thing about it having a standard structure is that it's really easy to read and write the code. So let's look at the differences between JSON and XML. On one side, you can see that I have JSON for cats. And this is an array of the object cat. And on the other side is our XML code. You can see that there's significantly less tags in the JSON, and you can really just clearly see that JSON is more lightweight compared to XML. And on top of that, JSON has the concept of arrays, which is not available in XML. Actually, here I'm illustrating a couple different types in JSON. I have a number type, a string, an object, and an array with our brackets. So JSON has several different types. We have strings, numbers that can be represented in many different ways, booleans, which is true or false, our arrays, which are surrounded with a square bracket and a comma space, our objects, which are denoted by a curly bracket, and on top of it, null. So now that you've learned high level about JSON, let's write a JSON file. So I have an empty file here called JSON Example.json. So a JSON file has the extension JSON. Now, a JSON file can just hold a single type in it. You could say true, this is actually valid JSON. Or if you did a string, you could just say string. Same down to just saying null. But that's not really useful. It's only one item. And if you want it to grow, it doesn't work. So most of the time, a JSON file is either an array or an object. So it usually either starts off with a bracket indicating an array or our curly brackets for an object. Let's write that cats that we've done. So in a JSON file, I would start it off by saying curly bracket, and within that, this would hold my object. So if I wanted to make an array of cats, I would say I have an array named cats. So this is the name is cats. And then to denote its type, I start with a bracket. So now this cats is an array. In this case, cats is an array with nothing in it. So I want to add an object. And I'm going to start off with making my first cats. So I'm going to enter down a little. And we'll start off with our cat. So I can make first name, we'll say its name. And I have two cats, and one cat's name is Algebra. And she is 10 years old. And the type of cat she is a calico. Now I want to add another object to this array because I have two cats. We put a comma, and then we denote that we have another object coming. So we don't end with a comma. That's not valid JSON. So when you're done, don't have a lingering comma. So here, I have a cat named Shell from Portal. She is 7 years old. And she's like a gray tabby calico. So we'll just say type gray tabby, although that's that's not truly her type, and she'll be very upset about that if she finds out. Calico. So this is the list of cats I have. This is an array of cat types. You can add more to it. You don't have to just have one array in here. So I have dogs. So I'm putting a comma, and now I'm saying dogs. I actually only have one dog, but maybe I can convince my husband one day to let me have another dog. So we can make an array, again, with our object. And in this case, I have an array of one dog. So name is Leela from Futurama. Age is 5. And type is mutt. Now we have created a JSON file that holds two arrays. One is an array of cats and one is an array of dogs. We have our strings, and we're also holding a number, and then we have our type as well, which is another string. If we wanted to, we could maybe have a boolean. Let's say if they're spay or neutered, right? So is fixed. And we can say true, and that's true also for all these others. Maybe this is a file that holds a configuration of all animals that people have. And maybe because other people have birds, we want to capture birds. But I don't have any birds. So I can say birds here, and instead of giving back an empty array, I can also give back a null. And that means there is nothing there for birds. So now you've learned how to work with JSON.